Hello.
Hello.
Wow, hello. Welcome.
Welcome.
To our One Piece Saga episodes. I don't know.
Reviews.
Reviews. I haven't gotten that down yet.
But
welcome. This is part 2 of the Alabasta Saga for One Piece. Of the NgoVo Convo podcast where two stupids make a hype.
That's hype, right?
Right.
I'm still confused by this intro. It's okay. So One Piece, Alabasta Saga.
Yeah, part 2. Yeah. We'll get it down eventually. We have so many more parts to go. If you're... Oh, wait. I skipped a part. I'm one of your hosts, NgoVo, and I'm joined by Harrison. No.
I'm over here.
Wow. It's my off day. It's our
Your
off day.
It's the best day for me. I love it.
It's the best day. But if you're new here, we will just want an excuse to talk about anything that ranges from anime to comics, manga, but also cleaning up Harrison's One Piece backlog.
Yes.
So here we are. But some would say this is conversing?
Like NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo?
Wow.
Spelled right above me in the logo.
The logo above Harrison's head. Wow. You can watch every episode at youtube.com or listen to it as a podcast by searching NgoVo Convo on your podcast service of choice. We're on 10 plus different platforms. Search us up. We're everywhere.
And if you don't,
we're on the main ones.
We're on the big ones.
Yeah, we're on the big ones. But yeah, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the Little Garden arc. So manga wise, it's chapters 115 to 129.
Yeah.
But anime wise, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, just to preface, I think some people, I saw a couple comments on this. I think the vibe they're thinking is that I'm watching this. I'm not.
Oh no, he's reading.
I'm reading.
He's reading this. He's not watching this.
So it's, yeah.
But everyone has recommended that he reads it because it's faster. So
facts.
Here we are. So if you're not caught up reading or watching wise, come back to us in a couple months or so. Depending on how fast you watch or read this.
I mean, honestly, I read this arc during lunch, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, come join us on this One Piece saga.
One Piece
journey. Wow, I'm really off. But yeah, Harrison. So we left off with them going to the Little Garden.
Uh-huh.
And so I need your
thoughts. Because they just fought with some of the Baroque people.
Yep.
And
they
forgot the mountains or
they figured out Miss Wednesday's identity, or true identity, I should say. So they're taking her home. So this is her journey home. But to get there, they have to, cross a couple islands.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So any non-spoiler thoughts about Little Garden? Before we...
It's not little.
Wow! Who could have thought? Who would have thunk that it was not little?
So it was good. It was fun. I actually, as I read this, I'm like, I do remember watching this. I think up to this point, like we said, I've watched up to Alabasta, and I probably saw little bits and pieces after. But after reading this, I was like, I do remember this. Okay, yeah, that's true. It was cool. Again, I think they essentially are getting the vibe of the Straw Hats are crazy.
Crazy.
And I say crazy as in it's funny to see how they deal with certain things, and a normal person, Vivi, is she's freaking out at certain things, and they're like, it's fine.
Is it fine? But yeah, the dynamic is interesting, especially when you start seeing crew versus outsiders, or different crew member, other crews or other pirates. I think I want to hear you compare them as we get further in, because they're so interesting.
Easy. Okay,
cool. Well, let's just get right into it. I guess our spoiler thoughts, or just get into the arc, because it was short.
It was short. It was super short. Yeah.
But
good.
It was condensed, but I thought I feel like every arc is like the little ones especially, they're so condensed, but there's so much packed into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say technically there's a lot. There's not a lot going on, but there's so much that technically happens or you have to allude to for certain things.
Yeah. So I know you said that the little garden, you already knew that it wasn't so little.
Yes.
Did you have fun reading this? Because this island is basically prehistoric era, like dinosaur-esque.
Yeah, I actually thought for some reason I couldn't remember what it was called, but again, I didn't pay attention when I was younger.
When you were younger, yeah.
I had a different expectation. I thought there was something. I knew there would be giants because they kind of showed the footprints.
The footprints, yeah.
But I thought I had a totally different idea of like why they call it Little Garden, but it doesn't even matter. It's just a prehistoric island, and that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and I actually for some reason I was like, oh okay, we get to meet I for sure was we get to meet giants, and I'm like, oh, it's just 2, but it's still cool.
No, 2 great giants.
Dory and Broggy?
Yeah, Broggy and Dory.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, how do you feel about the dynamic between Sanji and Zoro?
Is that going to be like a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Because they were like, oh, why are they always like this? It's like they're always competing. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
They're always going to. I was like, oh, is this just going to. And I remember you or my wife or someone kind of talked about it. Maybe one of my older roommates or something. But it was a really quick passing thing where I heard you guys talk about just the group and all that. And I just remember hearing, oh, it's like they always kind of do this thing. And I'm like, oh, is this the thing? It must be this. How they're always like it literally was just like, oh, Sanji was like, oh, can you get some food? Yeah, sure. I'll get something that you can't get anyway. What?
And then Zoro's an enabler.
Yeah, 100%. But it's funny right now, knowing how Zoro is and will be. He just walked. He's like, I'm going to take a walk. I'm like, you're not coming back.
Zoro is like us. We are very bad
we're not.
directioners.
I'm
like
not.
Literally.
Veronica's bad. I'm not.
You are so bad. It was so funny because his wife was like, yeah, Zoro's like Harrison. And I was like, oh no, he is.
And I was like, oh, you mean like I could go to the gym more often and I'll be like Zoro? She's like, no, your sense of direction. I'm like,
your sense of direction, yeah.
I was like, oh, my sense of direction is that bad? No way. And I'm like, oh, it is.
And now you start reading One Piece and you're like, oh.
Oh, I'm not that bad at all.
So, okay, so now we have Sanji. So,
all right, yeah, going back.
I was like, Okay, so Sanji and Zoro, they're very competitive. And then you get the other side, which is Usopp and
Nami are useless?
Yeah.
Or that's what they call each other.
Yeah. They actually have a name down the line. I won't say it. They have like a little trio name.
No way.
Yeah. No, it's really funny. But you'll always see those groups just kind of separate.
Okay.
It's kind of like you're seeing like the beginning of like how the dynamics are working together. Okay. But I thought it was really funny. Did you think that Usopp would leave the boat?
No.
At one point. No, right?
No, straight up. I didn't think either of them would. But then when Broggy popped up, I was like, oh, that's how they get him off. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, he scared me.
Really?
Like initially when I started watching this, because like when you watch the anime, he just kind of like pops in out of nowhere. A little jump scare. How'd you feel about the giants, Broggy and Dory? Did you like their story?
I liked their story a lot. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a great way to highlight what Luffy and Usopp value. I thought it was a very good way to just kind of reflect, because essentially it's just like they both were so wowed by the fact that they would just every time the volcano would pop off, they would be like, all right, time to fight. Yeah. And I already kind of knew what happened because after it started, I was like, oh, I remember why this is important. Yeah. And again, I thought it was cool. Like, yeah, like they, no matter what they valued honor and like actually just no matter what, they will fight and try to, duke it out. And I was like, oh, neither one's actually gonna win.
Oh,
they never
yeah.
do. After like what was it, like 700 and something, 100,000? I don't remember.
It's hundreds of years, centuries.
Or I was like, or the amount of battles they've had.
Oh yeah, it was like 74,000 something. Yeah.
Something like that.
It was crazy.
Yeah, because he said, we've been we've been at this for hundreds of years. Oh, we don't remember why we started in the first place.
Yeah, they were like, I don't remember. I was like, what?
But they have to, out of like honor and due to their god or something like that.
Oh yeah, the giant gods.
But I feel like this is gonna be a thing where Luffy, because what Usopp was like, oh, I may not be. He's like, that's what I strive to be, is like just to be like you guys, and not like being a warrior, or yes, warrior, but he's like
being brave,
but being brave, but also like essentially having no regrets.
Yeah.
And he wants to, like, if he dies or he gets stranded, he'll have no regrets and is happy with the way he did things. I don't know why, but once he said that, I'm like, there's something that's gonna happen down the line that causes him not to feel that way.
You're like, what's going on?
So I'm like, the manga has enough time to cause drama. That's the line that causes drama.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And when I first saw this and read this arc, I didn't expect Usopp to relate or to be inspired by like a brave warrior.
Yeah. Well, it kind of makes sense with how he views his dad.
Yeah.
From early on, or that was explained early on, but yeah, no, I didn't expect it either. And then once he said it, I was like, but at first I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why you be super inspired? But then when Nami asked him for the details, he's like, oh no, it's for the essentially out of, what was it?
Basically out of pride.
Out of pride, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
for his family.
For the pride, yeah.
What was interesting was that I think everyone. Did you feel that when the log pose question came up, like it had to sink for a year?
Yeah. It would take a year.
Everyone was like freaking out but Luffy. And I'm like, this kid is just so free.
Does not give a shit.
He does not give a shit.
Because literally he just saw the island. He's like, oh, that means adventure. I was like, classic. All right, cool. Classic pro tag
He's
moment.
always in for the adventure.
Yeah.
He's always an adventurer. Oh, yeah. So the whole thing. So basically the premise of this was that the giants, they're stuck on that island, right? Mm-hmm. And then these basically Luffy and his crew, the humans, they kind of come on and have an adventure. How did you feel about the drink being bombed, essentially? So like, remember Mr. 5, right? Mr. 5, Miss Valentine, they kind of like interfered with the fight.
Yeah, okay, so with that fight, right?
Yeah.
Because I thought the alcohol being spiked was due to Mr. 3.
Was it Mr. 3? Well, Mr. 5 had to go do it because it was a bomb. But Mr. 3 was like the mastermind.
Did they ever? Yeah. Okay, I don't know about the anime, but in the manga, I didn't notice when it happened. It just kind of, or when they got the alcohol.
I think it just happened because it was from Usopp and Nami.
Yeah, that gave it.
Or they gave Broggy that,
yes.
And I believe Broggy just off screen gave it to Dory.
No, he shows that he gave it to Dory, kind of. He brought it up, sort of. But I guess I didn't know if there was a clue of what had happened. But I guess we just kind of assumed that they somehow spiked it.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah. Okay.
How did you feel about? Oh wait, go ahead.
Oh, I just didn't know when it happened, so I was like, oh, I guess I'll just assume. Okay, it must have happened off screen or something.
It was confusing because I was like, at first I was like, what's going on? But then I was like, oh, it's the drink. Yeah. The ale or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you like Mr. 3? His wax fruit.
I was like, I honestly forgot about fruit powers until they showed them. I was like, oh yeah, fruit powers are a thing. Duh. Totally forgot.
I feel like people forget until like
Till it
a new
happens.
villain comes by, or like it happens again.
Yeah, or like they draw attention as, oh, it's a fruit power, or is it the devil fruit? A devil fruit power.
Devil fruit power. Yeah.
So it's interesting. I thought Miss Goldenweek's power was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
When
the painting
with like the
with
drawing emotions from the colors
Yeah.
and stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this arc really showed everyone's like true intentions. I think because if you've noticed
Headspace.
Yeah, exactly. Because like basically like Mr. 3, he captures Nami, Vivi, and like Zoro at one point, like all together. Did you notice how Zoro's like, I'm going to fight whether or not I have legs? Like, he was ready to go.
I said headspace, right? That's what I meant by headspace.
Yeah.
Like,
he was just ready to go.
And he was, because it was funny because the Broggy got all his like his hands and his feet
were like
knifed down, and he was like super down,
wax knifed.
No, yeah, but I guess strong enough to hold it. But he was super down and like depressed because he feels like he's one didn't get a fair fight and two caused the issue with
with Dory.
Yeah. But I thought it was cool because you're right. It does kind of show I think this whole, again, nothing. The arc was short, but it spoke a lot to each character, right? Or it expanded more on it. Like for instance, Zoro, he was like, "Oh, I'm still down to fight." He's like, he's like, "Aren't you willing to fight?" He was asking Brock, he's like, "Aren't you willing to fight or something?" I mean, he's like, "It's better to like fight with no limbs than like being dead, right? And losing to these guys." And I was like, "Oh," and that's why I think. But then, of course, in Zoro fashion, it's like, "I'm gonna saw off my legs. I'm gonna cut off my legs."
And Nami is just like, "What?
What? No, it's useless." And then they're both like that. But then because he said that, Broggy said, "You're right," and they were ready to like.
Yeah, they were ready to go ham. I mean, Zoro was just like, he was already starting to saw off his.
I mean, because before this, Luffy was essentially stuck. Luffy was stuck under a mountain because Dory put the rock on it. I was like, what the heck?
I know. It was just so interesting. Like, the dynamic between every fight with Luffy is just so interesting. Especially the Mr. 5 versus Luffy. I think that indicates how, like, devoted Luffy is to, like, being a pirate, like being an adventurer. Yeah, like he was ready to just go, and but the mountain stopped him. Essentially. Yeah. Oh yeah, Mr. 3's final form. I need to know your thoughts on his final form.
It's just a mecha anime at this point. What do you mean?
I need to know your thoughts on this big old
so
form.
Dumb. But I was like, I was also thinking, well, in One Piece fashion, this is what I expect, honestly. So.
No, it's just goofy.
It's just goofy. Yeah.
It's just goofy looking.
In One Piece fashion, I'm like, this is expected.
Did you expect Sanji to be that nosy about the house?
I didn't think he was nosy. I just thought he just walked in. He's like, let me check this out, because it was weird. And then, of course, just sat there drinking tea. He's like, oh no, wait, I can't just sit here drinking tea. What if the girls need my... Like, oh.
And then he answered the phone.
Yeah. Mr. Zero, or was it, what's his name? Crocodile.
Something?
Crocodile?
Yeah.
I forgot that. Okay, I vaguely remember him. But in 2, I forgot that Sanji's the one that interacts with him the first time around.
The first time, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah. Just lying to him. Like, yeah, we took care of him. It's like, what?
What? And then he took care of the little, like, cat and, like...
The unlucky pair or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 13...
They were truly unlucky.
It was, like, something Friday and 13 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah.
They're so funny,
I mean, out of the conversation between Sanji and Mr. Zero, he got the Eterno pose to Alabasta.
Yeah,
because they were originally going to be stuck there for like a year.
Because it was from the unlucky pair, right? That had it because they were going to deliver it to them just to find Sanji. And they're like, uh-oh. No.
Good old Sanji.
And I was like, okay, that's and then of course when the 1 year thing popped up, I was like, okay, they're not going to stay here for a year, obviously. I just don't remember how they got a hold of
like how got off and went to.
But I was like, oh, how convenient. All right, cool, that works, easy. But I think it's also fun to see like this is the first villain organization, I guess, that are constantly fighting with Straw Hats, right? Now. And it's always fun to see how they always are like, oh, they're underestimating us, when in reality they are underestimating like Luffy and his gang.
Luffy, yeah. I mean, he's still new to this like whole pirate thing, and so is everyone else, because I think they naturally, the charm of Luffy, they obviously said yes to being on his crew. But if you remember back in, I think, a couple arcs ago, Luffy was looking for a musician.
Yep.
And next, but I feel like I know where this is going. At the end of this arc, Nami is just very sick. Like sick.
Sick.
Yeah, like so sick she like fell. And so they were just like, oh. In my head, I was like, a musician. They don't need a musician. They need a doctor.
And now they need to go find a doctor.
They're going to have to go find a doctor.
I wonder who that could be.
Hey, we all know.
I mean, some people may not.
Some people
I
don't.
But...
Yeah. I know you do. Overall, did you like this arc? It was short and sweet.
It was short and sweet. And like I said, I think it expanded a lot on characters in that short amount of time, and it just gave me as a reader more insight on like what people value, what people had, the thought process, how things may work out. And like you mentioned, I didn't even think about this, how pairings work, or like little grudges and stuff like that, or like, who butts head with who vibes with who. So it's very quick.
Yeah,
it's good.
I guess you're enjoying One Piece so far.
It's been good. Yes.
It's been good. Oh my goodness. This is like so interesting. This is my second time rereading it, so I'm just like,
oh, it's especially for you. You get to see, I think we've mentioned this before, you get to see from where you are now, like being caught up, and you seeing how some things could be alluded,
and it's literally in my face. Every time I read it, I'm like, damn it.
See, this is what hyped me up, is what can be and what is in store down the line.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Have you been paying attention to those chapter covers?
Yes, I have. I've
the
actually,
little stories.
Ever since I think the first or second episode, I've actually paid attention, and I'm like, okay.
Aren't they cute? Isn't Kobe just such a
just...
He's struggling.
He is
struggling. He's a struggling boy. Yeah. Are you excited for the next arcs?
Yeah. I actually almost started reading more, but I was like, you know what? No, let me hold off. And
it's got to be fresh in your mind.
Well, not just that, but I don't want to read too far ahead and then accidentally say something I shouldn't in an arc.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because I've done that already.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Well, is that all you have? That's all I have. It was short and sweet.
That was good.
Then you also got to see Broggy and Dory's like little backstory.
Yeah, no, they actually did go back and explain what happened, and it was dumb. I mean, not dumb, but like it was just very simple. Like literally the question of like, because they were talking about like what's something, and then it's like, oh, which one's bigger, or who's better, or who's
which fish was bigger?
Which fish was bigger, and that was it. And I was like, what?
And it's kind of a parallel between like Sanji and Zoro, because they were hunting for a big.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because once they talked about the hunt, they both looked at it, or Dory and Broggy both looked at each other like, hunt. Like they were like questioning, but like slightly remembering something.
Yeah.
So,
but also the very ending, how they got out of the island was really cool. The way their swords and like axe were just like,
like it was a giant goldfish.
yeah,
That almost, and Luffy was like, just go straight, and then they're like, okay, but I mean, they broke it because they.
yeah.
I knew something was gonna happen with their weapons because they said something as, oh, do you have any regrets? You know, all this stuff.
I mean,
And
fighting
boom.
for centuries.
Yeah.
They got
Oh, no, and that was a nice twist too, where Dory didn't really die because the weapons were so worn out.
Yeah.
And they weren't taken care of according to Zoro. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my last question is, do you think they'll ever get to the island, the giant island?
Okay, I feel
Do you want them to?
I kind of did, because it sounds like they're going to at some point or somehow.
Yeah.
Because he kept talking about it. I was like, ooh, because Usopp was like, I would like to visit and check out that island. I was like, okay, it's gonna happen. It's gonna totally happen.
Down the line.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have. Is that all you have?
Yeah.
On to the next arc.
Good catch on the little tidbits at the end. I did
yes.
want to talk about it, I just forgot. Because there's, again, a lot happened, but in a short amount of time.
Yes. All I can say is just start paying attention.
I know. I'm trying. But also trying to have fun.
Yeah, no. I think if you reread it, you'll see. Like, once you catch up and, like, reread it, it'll start making more sense. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at NgoVo Convo, NgoVo Convo. Logo's above Harrison's head. He'll point to it because I don't know where that is. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button and notification bell to get updates for when we upload. And subscribe. Big red buttons below me. Like buttons below me. Not the dislike button. Let us know how we're doing. What do you want to see next? What do you want us to read? Watch? Play? Something? Anything? Question mark? Yeah, just let us know. We're here. What? Oh, 3 times a week this month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Look at us. Bye-bye.
Bye.